Omaikianatimanasya Sakshvanmitam yena tasmai shigurave namah. Chaitanyamanopistam staptam yena bhutale Shramabhakadamyam dadati svapadantikam Vandeham shiyuda padkamlam shirom vaishnavam sva Shiyopam jagajatam saganaragnatam vitam tam sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Vaijana Saitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sakalita Shivshakam Vitam Sham He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Chatpate Gopesha Gopka Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshvara Vishabhanu Sutta Devi Pranamama Hare Priye Vancha Kalptrabhisha Kripa Sindhavesha Patnam Pavanabhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namo Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we are continuing with our discussions of Nectar of Instruction. We are at the end of text 8. Text 8 is about advanced stages of devotional service. The stages after liberation. I read the verse again. Tanama rupa charitati sukir tananu smityo kramena rasana manasi niyoja Tishtam vraje tadanuragi shananugami kalem nayat akilamiti upastesha saram. The essence of all advice is that one should utilize one's full time, 24 hours a day, in nicely chanting and remembering the Lord's divine name, the transcendental form, qualities, and eternal pastime, thereby hardly engaging one's tongue and mind. In this way, one should reside in Vraj, Goloka Vrindavan, and serve Krishna under the guidance of devotees. And one should follow in the footsteps of the Lord's devotees, who are deeply attached to his devotional service. So we are discussing this last point. One should follow in the footsteps of the Lord's beloved devotees who are deeply attached to his devotional service. After the heart is purified, then attraction for Krishna comes, and one will find Krishna in the heart and will become absorbed in his pastimes, in the mood in which one wants to serve Krishna. This mood in which one wants to serve Krishna will develop naturally, because this mood is already in our heart. It has to come out. But once we are attracted to this mood, then when we are attracted to this mood, we can make that stronger and make it develop more quickly or more deeply by hearing from those residents of Vrindavan who are absorbed in that mood. So this is explained in Prabhupada, mentions that at the end of the purport of this verse, that he speaks about, I read it again. When one has developed such attachment, he can spontaneously serve the lotus feet of Krishna, even without following the regulative principles. This stage is called Raga Bhakti, or devotional service in spontaneous love. At that stage, the devotee can follow in the footsteps of one of the eternal associates in Vrindavan. This is called Raganuga Bhakti. Raganuga Bhakti, or spontaneous service, can be executed in, and then Prabhupada explains all these rasas: Santa ras, Sakya ras, Vatsalya ras, and today we will discuss Madhurya ras. Madhurya ras, characterized by conjugal love. One can become like Srimati Radharani or her lady friends, such as Lalita and her serving friends, Manjaris, like Rupa and Rati. This is the essence of all instruction in the matter of devotional service. Now we will hear about the conjugal rasa from Nectar of Devotion. Before we go deeper in Nectar of Devotion, because this is chapter 44, but I think in chapter 19 is already explained this conjugal love. You have two kinds of conjugal love relationship with Krishna. That one is called Parakya, and the other is called Svakya. Two kinds. Parakya is the mood of the cowherd girls of Vrindavan. All these cowherd girls are married, and it's socially unacceptable, abominable, if they would have a relationship with another boy outside of marriage. In the material world, this is the most condemned thing. But in the spiritual world, it's the highest, because the relationship is with Krishna. That makes it commendable, you can say. But their mood is like they are married girls, and they have to keep their relationship with Krishna hidden, secret. That socially they cannot openly bring it. There are certain risks involved. They have to go to the forest during the day to pluck flowers, hoping to see Krishna. So that is called Parakya. Of course, that's more intense love. Svakya is like the queens of Dvarka. Krishna married 1,608 queens. Yes, he married 16,108 queens, but their relationship is one of husband and wife. They are married with Krishna. That officially. It's an official wedded relationship. And this kind of relationship is in our reference usually. Because the queens of Dwarka, they are always aware Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They know it. They are in the Vaikuntha mood, not in the Vrindavan mood. But it's officially wedded. So in this chapter that Srila Prabhupada Here he will explain both. That, but then he will also explain different moods in that conjugal love. And we will go to it. So, just a moment. So, devotional service in conjugal love. A pure devotee's attraction to Krishna in conjugal love is called devotional service in conjugal love. Although such conjugal feelings are not at all material, there is some similarity between the spiritual love and material activities. So that we should always be aware of. Material activities are selfish. That many times relationships in this world is I take from you, you give to me. That the purpose is to the relationship is based on mutual gratification of senses, of mind. That, but there's always a selfish motive. In spiritual love, it's only giving to Krishna, with no expectation of return, just out of love, pleasing the Lord. So, spiritual love means pleasing the transcendental senses of Krishna. So therefore, persons who are interested only in material activities are unable to understand this conjugal love, and this devotional reciprocations appear very mysterious to them. So we see many times we are criticized by people who say, "Yo, Krishna is immoral. He has loving affairs with others' wife. That is immoral." But these persons have no idea who Krishna is. Krishna is in everyone's heart. He has not really a relationship with everyone. That is in the heart of the women, of the man, all of them. So Rupa Goswami describes conjugal love very briefly. We will know here. The impetus of conjugal love are Krishna and his very dear consorts, such as Radharani and her immediate associates. Lord Krishna has no rival. No one is equal to him, and no one is greater than him. His beauty is also without any rival, and because he excels all others in the pastimes of conjugal love, he is the original object of conjugal love. So, in spiritual love, in spiritual conjugal love, Krishna is the only object. So, in the Gita Govinda by Jayadev Goswami. Jayadev Goswami he wrote Gita Govinda, so many nice poetry. He was also living in Navadvip. There's a samadhi of Jayadev Goswami in Navadvip. That, in the Gita Govinda by Jayadev Goswami, one gopi tells her friend, Krishna is a reservoir of all pleasure within this universe. His body is as soft as a lotus flower. And his behavior with the gopis, which appear exactly like a young boy's attraction to a young girl, is the subject matter of transcendental conjugal love. A pure devotee follows in the footsteps of the gopis and worships the gopis as follows. Let me offer my respectful obeisance to all the young coward girls whose body features are so attractive. Simply by their beautiful, attractive features, they are worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Out all of the young gopis, Krishna is the most, of all the young gopis, Srimati Radharani is the most prominent. Then there is a description of the beauty of Srimati Radharani. Her eyes defeat the attractive features of the eyes of the Sakori bird. When one sees the face of Radharani, he immediately hates the beauty of the moon. Her body complexion defeats the beauty of gold. Thus let us all look upon the transcendental beauty of Srimati Radharani. Krishna's attraction for Srimati Radharani is described by Krishna himself. When I create some joking phrases in order to enjoy the beauty of Radharani, Radharani hears these joking words with great attention. But by her bodily features and counter words, she neglects me. And I even possess unlimited pleasure by her neglect of me. So it's all ecstatic. For she becomes so beautiful that she increases my pleasure 100 times. A similar statement can be found in Gita Govinda, wherein it is said, when the enemy of Kamsa sees Krishna embraces Srimati Radharani, he immediately becomes entangled in the loving condition and gives up the company of all the gopis. So that will be further discussed. In this conjugal love, you have different phases or different situations. You have Vipralamba, when the gopis are in separation of Krishna. They want to meet them. In this Vipralamba, you have Purvarag. Purvarag means they have the expectation of meeting Krishna, eager to meet Krishna. And then finally, when they meet, it's Sambhoga meeting. These are different kinds of conjugal experiences. So in the Patyavali of Rupa Goswami, it is stated, when the gopis hear the sound of Krishna's flute, they immediately forget all rebukes offered by the elderly members of the families. They forgot their defamation and the harsh behavior of their husbands. Their only thought is to go out in search of Krishna. When the gopis meet Krishna, the display of their exchanging glances, as well as their joking and laughing behavior, is called anubhav, or sub-ecstasy in conjugal love. So that's the anubhav exchanges in conjugal love, which causes ecstasy. So the gopis have so many problems with their mother-in-law who does not let them go out, that by their husbands who are rebuking them, that but when they are with Krishna, they forget all their problems, all gone. Of course, it's all ecstasy. Also, the problems are ecstasy in the devotional service. In the Lalita Madhava, Rupa Goswami explains that the movements of Krishna's eyebrows are just like the Yamuna, and that the smiling of Radharani is just like the moonshine. When the Yamuna and the moonshine come in contact of the river, the water tastes just like nectar, and drinking it gives great satisfaction. It is as cooling as piles of snow. Similarly, in the Patyavali, One constant companion of Radharani says, my dear moon-faced Radharani, your whole body appears very content, yet there are signs of tears in your eyes. Your speech is faltering, and your chest is also heavy. By all these signs, I can understand that you must have heard the blowing of Krishna's flute. And as a result of this, your heart is now melting. In the same Patyapali, there is the following description, which is taken as a sign of frustration in conjugal love. Srimati Radharani said, my dear Cupid, please do not excite me by throwing your arrows at my body. Dear Mr. R, please do not arouse me with fragrance of flowers. I'm now bereft of Krishna's loving attitude, and so under the circumstances, what is the use of my maintaining this useless body? There is no need for such a body by any living entity. This is a sign of frustration in ecstatic love for Krishna. So, the transcendental platform, we use everything in Krishna's service, even our frustration. So Dani Keli Kaumudi. This is the pastime of the tax collecting by Krishna. He's collecting tax from the gopis. There, Srimati Radharani is pointing to Krishna. He says, this clever boy of the forest has the beauty of a bluish lotus flower, and he can attract all the young girls in the universe. Now, after giving me a taste of his transcendental body, he has enthused me, and it is more than I can tolerate. I'm now feeling like a female elephant who has been enthused by a male elephant. This is an instance of jubilation in ecstatic love of Krishna. The steady ecstasy of conjugal love is the original cause of bodily enjoyment. In the Patyavali, this original cause of union is described when Radharani tells one of her constant companions, my dear friend, who is this boy whose eyelids dancing constantly have increased the beauty of his face and attracted my desire for conjugal love? His ears are decorated with buds of ashok flowers, and he has dressed himself in yellow robes. By the sound of his flute, this boy has already made me impatient. So the conjugal love of Radha and Krishna is never disturbed by any personal consideration. So that's no personal agenda. That in the material world, all relationships have personal agendas behind. The undisturbed nature of the conjugal love between Radha and Krishna is described thus. Just a little distance away from Krishna was Mother Yasoda, and Krishna was surrounded by all his friends. In front of his eyes was Chandravali, and at the same time, on a chunk of stone in front of the entrance to Vraj, stood a demon known as Vritrasura. So Krishna was standing before Vritrasura, the demon, Vrisasura. Known as Vrisasura. But even in such circumstances, when Krishna saw Radharani standing just behind the bush of many creepers, immediately his beautiful eyes moved just like a lightning towards her. So these are all excerpts from the scriptures, which Rupa Goswami gives us to give us the taste. And that is what the 6 Goswamis has done. They collected the nectar from all the Vedic scriptures, that in one place, nectar of devotion. Another instance is described as follows. On one side of the courtyard, the dead body of Sankashur was lying, surrounded by many jackals. On another side, there were many learned Brahmins who were all self-controlled. They were offering nice prayers, which which were as soothing as the cool breeze in summer. In front of Krishna, Lord Baladev was standing, causing a cooling effect. But even amid all these different circumstances of soothing and disturbing effects, the lotus flower of ecstatic conjugal love that Krishna felt for Radharani could not wither. This love of Krishna for Radharani is often compared to a blooming lotus. The only difference is that Krishna's love remains ever increasingly beautiful. And now we have conjugal love, different divisions. I spoke already about Vipralamba in separation and Sambhoris meeting, direct contact. But this Vipralamba has three underdivisions: Purvarag, Mana, and Pravas. So first, Prabhupada discusses, or of course based on Rupa Goswami, he discusses first Purvarag, the Mana, and Pravas. First, Purvarag. When the lover and the beloved have a distinct feeling of not meeting each other, that stage is called Purvarag, or preliminary attraction. That in the Patyavali, Radharani told her companion, "My dear friend, I was just going to the bank of the Yamuna, and all of a sudden a very nice boy whose complexion is like dark blue cloud became visible in front of my eyes. He glanced over me in a way I cannot describe, but since this has occurred, I'm sorry that I can no longer engage my mind in the duties of my household affairs." This is an instance of preliminary attraction for Krishna. In Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 53rd chapter, verse 2, Krishna told the messenger, Brahman, who came from Rukmini. Here, this is the, Parakya and Svakya. This is another conjugal mode, Rukmini. This is Vaikuntha conjugal mode. But it's the same principle, Purvarag. Rukmini had heard from Narada Muni about Krishna, and the expectation of meeting rose. Also, Krishna exhibit that, because when he received a messenger from a Brahman who was a messenger sent by Rukmini to please come and save her out of her, because she was destined by family members to marry Sisupal. And she didn't want. She wanted to marry Krishna, so she sent a messenger to Krishna with a letter. And the letter says, "My dear Brahmins, just like Rukmini, I cannot sleep at night, and my mind is always fixed on her. I know that her brother Rukmi is against me, and that due to his persuasion, my marriage with her has been cancelled." This is another instance of preliminary attraction than from the side of Krishna. So we have the Purvarag, the Mana, and then the Pravas. As far as Mana or anger is concerned, there is the following incident described in Gita Govinda. So that's again Jayadev Goswami. When Srimati Radharani saw Krishna enjoying himself in the company of several other gopis, she became a little jealous because her special prestige was being dimmed. Therefore, she immediately left the scene and took shelter in a nice flower bush where the black drones were humming. Then, hiding herself behind the creepers, she began to express her sorrow to one of her consorts. This is an instance of seeming disagreement. The Srimati Radharani's anger. And now pravas. And pravas means the lover is far away. When Krishna went to Mathura, all the gopis came in pravas, being out of contact because of living in a distant place is given in the Patyavali as follows. So that's pravas, living in a distant place. So the Krishna was in Mathura and then later in Dwarka. Since the auspicious day when Krishna left for Mathura, Srimati Radharani has been pressing her head on one of her hands and constantly shedding tears. Her face is always wet now, and therefore there is no chance of her sleeping even for a moment. When the face becomes wet, the sleeping tendency is immediately removed. So when Radharani was always weeping for Krishna because of his separation, there was no chance of her getting any sleep for herself. In the Prahlad Samhita, Uddhava says the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Govinda, panic-stricken due to being pierced by the arrows of Cupid, is always thinking of you, the gopis, and he is not even accepting his regular lunch, nor is he getting any proper rest. When Krishna was in Dwarka, he was married with 16,108 wives, but all the wives knew about the gopis because at night Krishna was dreaming and he was speaking about the gopis in his dream. So they knew about the gopis and Krishna's attraction, that's pravas. So that's separation, but now sambhoga. When the lover and beloved come together and enjoy one another by direct contact, that is called sambhoga. There is a statement in Patyavali as follows. Krishna embraced Radharani that in such an expert manner that he appeared to be celebrating the dancing ceremony of the peacocks. That Srirupa Goswami thus ends the western section of the Ocean of Nectar of Devotion. He offers respectful obeisance to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who appeared as Gopal, the eternal form of the Lord. Thus ends Bhaktivedanta summary study of the third division of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu in the matter of the 5 primary relationships with Krishna. So we went to these 5 primary relationships with Krishna. It's good to hear about them. Of course, when you read Krishna book, you will come in contact with all these kinds of love, that especially in Vrindavan, in his Kumara pastimes, that's especially when he was from less than 5 years old, the stress is given on Vatsalyaras, parental love. And between 5 and 10, he was playing with the gopas in the pasturing fields. So that's his period when he exhibits especially sakyaras with his coward boyfriends. Then from 10 and a half, the Kashora age state starts. Then is at night is with the gopis. But of course it's not not black and white, but it's that many devotees who were cultivating Raga, Nuga, Bhakti, they are reading every day about the Astya Kalya Lila of Krishna. Astya, the day is 24 hours day is divided in 8 parts. And it starts in the early morning and that Krishna Bhavanamrita is one such a book which describes this. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, I think, Krishna Bhavanamrita, very beautiful book. Some devotees read it every day. That and they think, it's now 7 o'clock. Krishna is going out for herding the cows, and they meditate on that. And in the afternoon, 4 o'clock, Krishna comes back from the pasture grounds. That in the early morning, Krishna and Balarama is milking cows. And then they are taking breakfast. In the evening dinner with Nanda Maharaj. Then Mother Yasoda when he's leaving. So when Krishna is leaving for the forest, Mother Yasoda comes out and they meditate on this pastime. And it's very nourishing. It is not for beginners, I would say, but if you are 20, 30 years in Krishna practicing and chanting, you can read these things. And it will give you it will intensify your attraction to Krishna. That understand, you get a feeling for all these moods of these devotees, because by hearing from that, it's like entering their mind, their feelings, their spiritual feelings. But this is for those who have nearly attained Sampatti Dasa, perfection of life, who are in the higher stages of this Smarana Dasa, remembrance, constant remembrance of Krishna. So we are at the end of the 9th text. The next 3 texts are much shorter. We will only have a few sessions to cover them. So we will continue next week with text 10, which describe different spiritual practitioners. Good. Any questions, comments?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. I have no questions because the topic is too high for me to have questions, but I thank you very, very much for your valuable explanations. All the best for you.
Yeah, that's good that there are no questions because I have no answer. It's also too high for me, but it's good to know that. Thank you very much. So tomorrow we have the Bhagavatam class. I'm looking forward to see you tomorrow again. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Have a nice day. Jai Prabhupada.
Thank you, Maharaj. His Holiness Bhakti Prabha Maharaj ki jai.
Jai. Hare Krishna.